Mr. Goldwasser, according to Jack Shell, you wanted to sabotage your wife's career and sobriety so that she would come home and make babies for you.
Why, you have got some nerve, you condescending piece of trash! You have no idea how much I love my wife! You have no idea!
Hey, Ernie, we got a pretty good idea how you set up Jack Shell to take the fall, so you can just reel in the indignation, okay? Admit it. You killed your wife.
I set Jack Shell up? Try the other way around, pal. Why the hell do you think I told you about him in the first place? I gave him a simple job. Give my wife some booze so that she could finally come home and have a life with me. And now she's dead! I don't want to lawyer up, I really don't. But if you don't stop pointing the finger at me and start getting about the business of finding out how Jack killed my wife, I'll have no choice!
Mr. Goldwasser, it's not my place to advise you, but if you are truly both innocent and interested in finding your wife's killer, then we are your best hope.
Damn it. Just keep looking, okay? Please.
This looks exactly like the sweater he has on now. In fact, all of these sweaters look the same. I wonder how he knows which one is the lucky one. Don't worry. A cold virus generally only lives for 5 or 6 hours on a contaminated surface. That said, it couldn't hurt to wash up and get a new set of gloves. I think we have a few more questions for Bachelor number 1.
What do you need? I'll see what I can do. Show me the evidence. Since the DNA from Jack Shell's sweater corroborates his testimony, there shouldn't be any problem getting a warrant to search Tamson's room for evidence linking him to the murder of Clorinda Jackson.
Is there a problem, officer?
Mr. Tamson, this is a warrant to search your room and possessions. If you wouldn't mind stepping outside, please. If I didn't know better, I'd think this was just another ordinary hotel room. Same color as the thread we found on the victim's phone. I agree. We'll want to take a closer look at that. Ah, this is where the hotel room illusion ends. These look like divorce papers from Ernest Goldwasser and Clorinda Jackson. The names are handwritten over what appears to be some sort of correctional fluid, and those dates are over 8 years ago. I don't think I'd try to pass these off as real, but I don't think that's the point. Nothing there. The thread on the phone came from that towel. The light can't get through the correctional fluid. We'll have to figure out some way to remove it. Wait, I have an idea. If we look at it from the back, we should be able to highlight the impressions the typewriter or pen made on the paper. I hope you can read backwards. Steve Tamsin covered the names on his own divorce papers with correctional fluid, then wrote Ernest and Clarinda's name on top. Maybe we have a revenge motive.
Hey. You got it.
Divorce papers? What are you talking about? And you keep bringing up Steve Tamsin. Who the hell is this guy? Son of a bitch! Damn it!
Can you think of any reason why this person might want revenge on you or Clorinda?
The show. You said divorce papers, and... I mean, we catch spouses in their lies on national television. It has to be the damn show! You know, there was a guy. I think his name might just have been Steve. Right at the beginning. That guy was off his nut. He told us in an interview that he had been with somebody other than his wife. Then he freaked out when we used it in the show. I mean, it was right there in the contract. All interviews are taped, and we have the right to show any of it on the air. He acted like we'd broken confessional or something, but it's not like we ever heard from him again. Yeah, I have a picture from that episode somewhere on our network. I'll send it from my phone. Okay, you should have it now.
That ring on his finger looks exactly like the one we pulled out of the hot tub. The pattern of bruising on the victim matches the ring that Steve Tampson wore on Rumors. Let's go talk to Jim.
Yeah? What evidence do we have? I think linking him to bruises on the victim's body should be enough to get him in here, yeah.
We saw a picture of you wearing that ring on Rumors, and we know the same ring was worn by Clorinda's killer.
Look, I don't know what's up with that picture, but that's not my ring.
We looked at that picture up close. It appears to be an authentic screen capture from the first episode of Rumors.
You must have brought me in for a better reason than that, right? Probably just got wet or something. I don't know. I didn't do it, though. I've never touched her phone. If my girlfriend wants to clean off her phone with my towel, what do I care?
You can't explain away your motive. Your divorce papers are dated right after your appearance on the show. And the way that you defaced the names indicates quite a bit of rage. Did you hold Clorinda and Ernie responsible when your wife left you? It sounded like your affair was the real reason for that.
Did Ernie actually remember me? I'm shocked. Yeah, I was on that show. I was kind of an idiot to talk about cheating on my wife in an interview for a TV show, but they didn't have to put it on the air. It's not like we went all the way. We just made out. I would have told her. They didn't have to ruin my life. Then Clorinda checked into the same rehab clinic as me. What are the odds, right?
Did she recognize you?
She did, totally. Had the nerve to act like it was no big deal, like we were old friends or something. She had no idea. So I gotta say, I really did get a kick out of wrecking their marriage, and getting laid for the trouble. How you like your little coward now, Ernie?
So you got your revenge, but it wasn't enough. You needed her dead just to get right with the world. You slipped some roofies into her drink, maybe gave her a little back rub. When she started to go under, you made sure that she didn't come back up.
Hey, whoa, I didn't kill her. I got what I wanted. Why would I risk it?
You said, "How you like your little coward now?" That's an odd turn of phrase.
He called me that on the show. He called me that on the show.
Cheating bitch. I'll kill you and the little coward you're screwing.
A call was made to check that voicemail at 10:15. It was in Clorinda's purse, and there are no prints on it. Strange for a shiny phone like that. You said you were alone in your room, at least after you saw Jack. If that's true, Clorinda couldn't have wiped the phone down with your towel, and you never did explain the ring. I think you're an excellent liar, Stephen, but eventually the details fail to connect, even for the best.
We all heard you say, "Little coward." We've got it on tape. Do you really want all this to go to a jury?
If you're going to take a fall, don't you want everyone to know your side of it?
My side? Yeah, I'll tell you my side. I had the roofies from before rehab. I was going to get rid of them, but then Clorinda showed up. I thought I could use them to get her into bed, but turned out I didn't even need them. She wanted it. But then last night she pushed me, and I knew I had to end it. Then that idiot showed up with the booze, and I saw my chance. I slipped her the Mickey, then went back to my room to get my wedding ring. It didn't fit anymore.
Why did you need the ring?
I had to show her. I had to show her the love that she had cost me. You think I gave her a back rub, Captain? I shoved that bitch under as hard as I could. I left my ring with her, because I finally didn't need it anymore. And the phone call, the message. I couldn't resist checking what Ernie had to say. I'll tell you, I laughed my ass off.
Stephen Tampson, you're under arrest for the murder of Clorinda Jackson. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Well, Steve, no more rehab for you. But they tell me prison has a sobering effect on people.
It's you. I should have known all along.
Ernie, calm down. I'll be with you in a second.
You're that total nut job from the pilot of Rumors!
Do you know what your wife said that made me drown her? She told me she loved me.
I'll kill you, you son of a bitch!
Whoa! A little help here.
I'll kill you!
I see they got the bloodstains cleaned up. Nothing like showing up to your murder trial with a broken nose. Anyway, good job on this case. It was tricky.
Steve Tamsin had an answer for everything.
Except the evidence.
So we got a call from the landlord. He says he heard a carbon monoxide alarm go off in here. He checks it, and that's when he finds a running generator and the great Andrew Levesque. May he rest in peace.
I'll bite. What makes the great Andrew so great?
Used to call him the Wayne Newton of fire breathers.
Wayne Newton?
Dankeschön was a very popular song. No? Well, anyway, the guy was a local celebrity at least. I thought he retired. I heard something about cancer. But apparently his cancer was in remission. He was planning a comeback.
Was it skin cancer? Because those lesions, they could also be indicative of Kaposi sarcoma, an AIDS-related illness. But the landlord mentioned carbon monoxide, huh? Generators do have a reputation for that. But in a room this size?
And therein lies your suspicious circs. You guys worked together before?
No. It's our first time. I'll be gentle.
You'll want to question the family when you get the chance. There was apparently a substantial insurance policy on the great Andrew's life. Okay, I'll leave you both to it.
Dankeschön. What a mess. I confess. Okay. So the windows were closed, and the generator was running to power those big spotlights there. With no ventilation and no airflow, the carbon monoxide released by the generator's internal combustion engine would diffuse pretty slowly. If Andrew was standing near the generator for a while, the concentration of CO might have been enough to poison him. Unidentified goo. Always the best kind. Good thinking. If we need to, we can figure out where that gas was purchased from its composition. That vent is closed just like the others, but it's not on an exterior wall. I bet Dr. Vince knows where it leads. Whoa. Bartender, pour me another.
Yes, I know. The detective told me. I'm Dr. Vicente Manotto. I'm the owner of the building. I found Andrew and called the police immediately. It's just so awful, isn't it? I'd say just about an hour ago. That's correct. Actually, I was in another unit when I heard the alarm go off. Yes, I was in another unit, assessing how much of the last tenant's security deposit I should give back. At first, I wasn't sure exactly where the alarm was coming from. Then I could hear it was coming from in here. I knocked on the door, but Andrew didn't answer. I went inside, and that's when I found him. Oh my God. No, I didn't, but I didn't smell a gas leak. Of course, I know carbon monoxide doesn't have an odor. It's just that when I saw Andrew lying there, it struck me that somehow he'd set off the alarm because of all those chemicals he ends up using. Or that maybe it had gone off by itself, accidentally. Frankly, it didn't occur to me in that moment to call anyone but the police. I checked Andrew's pulse. I'm a doctor. I thought if his heart were still beating, I could help him. Other than his immediate family, his wife and son, I haven't seen anyone else here. He paid me the rent yesterday. Yes, it is. Good luck with your investigation.
I'll call down to the morgue for a pickup. Mrs. Levesque, I'm very sorry.
It's Ms. now, or whatever someone calls a widow. I'm sorry, I just can't believe my husband's gone. No, well, I mean, he was in remission for almost a year now. He had been diagnosed with an oral cancer called squamous cell carcinoma. It was just devastating. The disease, the chemotherapy. He couldn't work, and then later on, no one wanted to hire him back. It wasn't fair. Never. Andrew was meticulous to a fault, an absolute perfectionist. On occasion, I would help him. Even Lyle would help out every now and again. Lyle, that's my son. Andrew was his stepfather. I'm sorry. What was I saying? Oh, yes, my son and I would help Andrew a bit, move things around, tell him what tricks we preferred, but for the most part, my husband worked alone. Odessa's 10 days old. She's our miracle. We decided to have her after the doctor told Andrew his cancer was in remission. We felt so blessed. No, none whatsoever. And believe me, Andrew would never have agreed to Odessa if he had thought for a single moment he wouldn't be right here with me to help raise her. Apart from Andrew, only me and my son. Well, no, our landlord, Dr. Manotto, has a key to the room. He has a key to all the units. My husband was beloved, truly. Even when they wouldn't hire him back on the strip, they were always so apologetic. It wasn't personal, they'd say. It was business. Times were changing. The end of an era, really. I do? We did sign up for some right when we got married. I had completely forgotten. Andrew handled the bills. If you need to ask me anything else, anything at all, please feel free.
David's on his way back. I'll have something for you a few hours after he arrives.
In the meantime, we can finish processing the scene. Maybe talk to our witnesses some more. Shouldn't be tough to stay busy. It's gasoline, all right, with a pretty high ethanol content. Unless I'm wrong, the diethylene triamine is from an aftermarket stabilizer. Allows the fuel to be stored for longer without gumming up. We're looking at a silyl-terminated polyether and acrylic sealant. Caulk. The great Andrew must have been closing up some joints and gaps in his rehearsal space. Although, I'll tell you, if it were me, I'd have the landlord take care of that kind of work. And who's to say Andrew didn't? It's a paraffin. With those additives, it's consistent with lamp oil. That makes sense. From what I've read, lamp oil is the least toxic fuel for fire breathing. It's still toxic, just not as bad as the alternatives.
Yeah? Not too bad. Busy day. You know how it is. Let me know if you identify a suspect.
Nothing we need to collect there. Human blood. Nice find. We need to know how much carbon monoxide that generator puts out and how much gas it burns. Let's take it back to the garage for testing. Okay, we've got warning signs posted. We've got our oxygen masks, and we've covered half the garage with a giant plastic bag. The conditions inside the gas tent should closely mimic those in Andrew's practice space, and the carbon monoxide detector is positioned about where Andrew's head would have been relative to the generator. All we have to do is fire that puppy up and wait. We should get a good sense of how fast it burns gasoline and how much carbon monoxide it puts out. Care to do the honors?
Okay, that's good. Now come back out here where it's safe. We're gonna let it run completely out of gas. It's gonna take a while, so we should come back later. It's not out of gas. Looks like it's got a while to go yet. Let's come back later.
It's going to be a few hours before I have much to tell you.
We'll leave you to it. So where to next? The blood sample we took from the generator is a match to a Lyle Fitzer. Geez, kid's 18 years old. Look at that list of priors. Talk about starting early and often. But how does Lyle Fitzer know? Wait a second. Lyle's home address matches the Levesque address. Lyle Fitzer is Andrew's stepson. And at some point, he left blood at our crime scene. We should hear what he has to say about his stepfather.
What do you need? I'm going to need to see some evidence before I go to a judge. We don't even know if there's been a crime yet, so there's no grounds for a warrant. But it won't hurt to ask him.
I thank my mom. I wouldn't be here if she hadn't freaked out when I said I wasn't going.
I'm sure it's a tough time for her, but we have to ask. We found your blood on a generator that may have caused your stepfather's death. How did it get there?
A generator killed him? He didn't die of cancer? How did a generator kill him?
Lyle, your mother said sometimes you would help Andrew practice his performance. But how would your blood get on the generator?
I got in a fight at school, and I got suspended. Mom said I had to tell Andrew before the school called him. So, Last night I went into his rehearsal room, and he didn't take it well. He liked to poke and push as punctuation. He'd yell, and then he'd poke, yell, then push. Last night he pushed me so hard I hit my head on the generator. Hurt like a... It hurt, okay? A lot. Pretty great guy, huh? What do you think? But he'd only hit me when he was bored with beating Mom.
It must have been very tough for both of you. I'm curious, did you ever think about...
Look, I did not kill my stepdad. Believe me, I had every reason to, but I can restrain myself. Not like him. Whatever. I can go, right?
Hi, Doc Robbins here. Just wanted to let you know that I've completed my autopsy of Andrew Levesque. I'll give you a full report when you come by.
Carboxyhemoglobin saturation levels in your victim indicate that he was exposed to carbon monoxide in relation to ambient concentration of about 3,200 parts per million. Death would have occurred in about 30 minutes, but he would have experienced severe headaches, dizziness, and nausea after only 5 or 10.
Who hangs around for half an hour feeling like that?
Well, that's the other interesting wrinkle. While Mr. Levesque's exposure to carbon monoxide was at a lethal level, he was quite possibly already on his way out. Take a look here. His squamous cell carcinoma had spread to his lungs. It's like a friend of mine once remarked, his cancer had cancer.
So he might not have felt much worse than he normally did. At least until he keeled over. Now it's even more important for us to finish our test with the generator. If it could have put out enough carbon monoxide, this might be just an accident.
No mention of it at all. But Mr. Levesque's last visit to the doctor was over 6 months ago, so obviously his cancer went unchecked and progressed rather aggressively. Well, I'm not sure. Look at what I found in his esophagus. This is a 2-part hard gelatin capsule. I couldn't decipher a label, but it could be a cancer-killing pill, or it could be a vitamin supplement. Liver's set, so I'd say he's been dead for approximately 4 to 5 hours. No problems at all. Here you are. I did. There's a white substance on his wrist that I left for you.
You always did know how to make us feel needed.
Also, take a close look at his mouth, the area just around his lesions. There were small concentrations of alkane hydrocarbons in his system, paraffin. Not enough to initiate toxemia, however. I think we've been fairly comprehensive, but if you think of more questions to ask me, I'll answer them if I can.
We'll have to verify it, but that looks like makeup to me. That shade's a little dark for him. More white goo. But is it the same white goo we found before? Particulate talc and nylon, silicone oil, sodium hyaluronate, and water. Definitely makeup. Andrew may have been hiding his cancer. The caulk on the victim's wrist and the caulk from the generator are chemically identical. Maybe we'll have better luck with a different magnification. What if we try zooming in? Or out? Can't see what we're looking for at this magnification. Let's try another setting. Maybe we'll have better luck with a different magnification. What if we try zooming in? Or out? Pharmaceutical companies print out some sort of ID number somewhere on the meds themselves. We should be able to look that up. It's methotrexate, an antimetabolite and antifolate drug used in the treatment of autoimmune diseases and cancer. Amniotic fluid? Okay, that's weird. Talk about your alternative forms of medicine.
Is that why he died?
We're still looking into the specific circumstances of your husband's death.
No, not recently. He had gone through chemotherapy, of course, but he hadn't taken any pills for quite some time. Andrew really wanted to be healthy, naturally healthy. It's not that he would refuse to take any kind of pills if the doctor said he had to, but once the doctor said he was in remission, then Andrew simply wanted to eat all the right food and exercise every day. If you need to ask me anything else, anything at all, please feel free.
All right, we need to find the primary source of carbon monoxide in this room. So we're looking for a furnace or a heater, or we might find it in a paint stripper or degreaser made from a methylene chloride, which metabolizes to CO in the body. Didn't Dr. Minoto say we could contact him here? I guess he stepped out. If he doesn't come back soon, we'll have to send brass after him.
Should be almost done. Great. Now let's check the carbon monoxide level on the detector. 1,600 parts per million. The generator didn't put out carbon monoxide fast enough to have killed Andrew. At least not in his gigantic workspace.
Hey,
We need to check for our CO source, but Dr. Minoto isn't where he said he'd be.
actually, he called me a little while ago to tell me he was headed out to a club, Marcel's Cabaret. He said to call him if we needed him.
Marcel's? Isn't that a tranny bar? There's more to Dr. Vince than meets the eye, I guess.
Come on back to my office. We can discuss it. Yeah? I called him. He said he'd leave immediately, but he also sounded like he was having a good time. If he doesn't respond, I'll send a unit to pick him up. I'll call you when I know more.
Thanks, Captain. We'll head back to the lab. I want to find out more about the capsule we found. Amniotic fluid? Okay, that's weird. Talk about your alternative forms of medicine. It's sugar. They say a spoonful makes the medicine go down, but I think they mean along with, not instead of. We've got a capsule of cancer meds, but there's no actual medication in it. Mr. Levesque wasn't getting what he thought he was getting. We should double-check the tox report with Robbins. He didn't say anything about methotrexate, but we should be sure.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I had to put Odessa to sleep. What can I help you with?
Ms. Levesque, were you aware that your husband's cancer had aggressively relapsed?
What are you talking about?
Hey. Unfortunately for Mr. Levesque, no. Methotrexate might have helped his condition. It's often prescribed as part of a chemotherapy suite.
Andrew Levesque was killed by carbon monoxide poisoning, but somebody was trying to kill him by denying him cancer meds. We don't have one crime to solve. We have two.
How's the Levesque case going? Did taking over the garage get us anything more than extra paperwork?
It did, sort of. We know that the generator wasn't the cause of death.
Negative results are still results. Is that all?
Well, we're looking at two crimes: attempted murder by medication denial and some flavor of homicide, negligent or otherwise.
Negligent. You thinking of anyone in particular?
I like the landlord for it. There are some generator-related holes in his story that don't fit the evidence.
Follow that up, but get something conclusive. He's a doctor and a landlord, so he's probably ready to lawyer up if he smells trouble. Now, tell me about the medication denial.
Andrew had cancer, no remission about it, and we found a fake cancer pill in his esophagus.
Any suspects?
We're working on it.
Great. Keep me posted.
Yeah, I got in touch with Dr. Minoto, and he's on his way back. He should be there by the time you get there.
It leads to the boiler room. It's centrally located between all my warehouse units. Yes, of course. Well, I don't have keys anymore. I have a key card. All the locks here are electronic now. Can you believe it? Pretty soon we'll just need to talk to the locks, am I right? No, not at all. Please follow me. Please, make yourselves at home. I'll be next door, as I promised.
Great. Don't go anywhere. Wow. What a piece of junk. It's gonna take a lot more than caulk to fix this furnace. I wonder if it even works. Looks like one of those vents could lead right to the practice space. No prints there. We don't need to make a mold of that. This caulk is still tacky. It hasn't been here long. The furnace still works, though. I think we caught our source of carbon monoxide red-handed. I'll have Brass contact the gas company, get him to turn off the gas. Then we'll process the pipe. Somebody knows how to make a good impression. Whoa, hold on. We don't want to take that off until the gas company shuts this place down. I don't want to go out like Andrew did. I can't believe this thing still works. Look at how badly it's corroded. That gas can holds 5 gallons. It's almost empty. The gas from the can in the boiler room is an exact match to the gas from the generator. Same ethanol content, same stabilizing additive. Yep, caulk. No surprise there. Looks like Dr. Minoto cocked that pipe. Okay, right now we have two possible scenarios. One, someone cranks up the furnace knowing that the leak in the pipe will flood the rehearsal space with carbon monoxide. Once our fire breather has taken his last breath, our perp comes in, seals the leak with caulk, and tries to tidy up the scene, but instead deposits traces of caulk all over the room, including on the victim. Or two, completely by accident, or what I like to call criminal negligence, the leak in the furnace floods the room with CO, overwhelming the great Andrew. Then someone comes into the room, sees the victim dead on the floor, and decides to make it look like natural causes. In both cases, our not-so-ingenious perp thought we'd think the generator was the source of the CO. And in both cases, I gotta say, I really like our not-so-good Dr. Minoto. Looks like Dr. Vince has a record.
Nevada law makes possession of any amount of marijuana by someone under the age of 21 a felony. So, unfortunately for Dr. Minoto, he was a 20-year-old pre-med when he was busted. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison, 750 hours of community service, and paid a $5,000 fine. And he still got accepted to medical school, so no harm, no foul, right? However, recently the doctor did run afoul of the Las Vegas Housing and Building Commission. He was cited on several occasions for improper maintenance of that apartment building. Here, take a look. Dr. Minoto paid nearly $12,000 in building code violations, and check out his last citation. Failing to upgrade gas pipes, posing a serious threat of carbon monoxide exposure.
Talk about your slumlord millionaire, who's about to be charged with negligent homicide.
Come on back to my office. We can discuss it. What do you need? Sorry, guys. What can I tell you? If it's not the crime tape, it's the red tape. Gas company says they're backlogged and they'll be out here as soon as they can. I'll call you.
We think Dr. Minotto may be responsible for the carbon monoxide in the building.
What evidence do we have? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's bring him in.
I don't think so. Those pipes were all in good working order.
Dr. Minotto, can you explain to us why, despite being cited by the city, you failed to repair the gas pipes in your building?
You misunderstand. I hadn't failed to repair them. I was just in the middle of accepting bids from contractors. I couldn't very well repair them all by myself, right? Yes, I paid a few fines, but in this particular case with regard to the gas lines, you'll see right there I did not exceed the deadline. No, I didn't touch the pipe.
Dr. Minotto, we know you put caulk on the pipe in the boiler room.
I can't explain that. I don't remember touching the furnace. But if I did, then it must have been when I was checking it. But that would have been several days ago.
The caulking was wet, Dr. Minotto. It was fresh, and it was lathered on. I'd say you should have waited for a professional to do the job.
All right. Perhaps I did put caulk on the pipe. I'm trying to maintain the building. That doesn't make me responsible for Andrew's death.
Let's get serious, Dr. Minotto. You know you were negligent, and you tried to cover it up.
I did not kill Andrew. He was a good man, a good tenant. The man played with fire, literally. Ran a generator in a closed room. There must be something you're missing. No, of course not. The generator was running when I arrived. No, of course not. The generator was running when I arrived. Why do you think that's my fingerprint?
And we have a match. So we know Dr. Vince handled the gas can from the boiler room at some point.
No, of course not. The generator was running when I arrived.
We matched the gas from the generator to what was in your gas can in the boiler room. Yours were the only prints on it.
Please, stop, okay? I tell you what happened. I'll tell you everything. As I told you before, I heard the carbon monoxide alarm coming from Andrew's practice space. I knocked, but when nobody answered, I used my keycard. Andrew was lying there. I did check his pulse, just as I said, but there was nothing. He was dead. I was scared, in shock. All I could think about was that citation from the city for those damn pipes, and I knew someone would hold me responsible for Andrew's death. I panicked. I got some caulk out and did my best to seal off the cracks in the pipe. I brought the gasoline I had been storing to the practice space and used it to fill the generator Andrew used to power lights during his outdoor performances. Andrew himself gave me the idea. He had told me once that he would never run the generator indoors for fear of poisoning himself. I rolled the generator to the middle of the room, started it, then moved the body under the lights they powered. Then I called the police.
Accidents will happen, but why don't I think we have the whole picture?
I've told you everything I know. I swear. I've told you. I will cooperate with your investigation.
Yeah?
We think someone may have been tampering with Mr. Levesque's medication.
Show me what you got. But you don't have Mrs. Levesque's DNA to compare to the amniotic fluid. I know the chances that the great Andrew knows another pregnant woman are slim to none, but still, judges can be sticklers about that.
Yeah. You know, we do have her son's DNA in the system. We can use it as a basis for a mitochondrial DNA comparison.
Great. Let me know how that turns out.
The mitochondrial DNA from Lyle's blood is a match to that from the amniotic fluid.
Hey,
We think someone may have been tampering.
I'll see what I can do. Show me the evidence. Mitochondrial DNA is not definitive, but the likelihood of two recently pregnant women matching up to Lyle is small enough that I should be able to convince a judge.
How dare you come back here?
Ma'am, we have a warrant.
I don't understand you people. Why are you doing this to me?
Nothing we need to collect there. A little bit of blood there. And something else. A whole bottle of methotrexate right on the nightstand. It seems unlikely that Ardell would have missed that. It's prescribed to a Jeremy Proxmire. I'll have Brass run that name down. Wow. Sugar in every single pill. I wonder if the meds were tampered with at the source. We know where Ardell's water broke.
So I tracked down Jeremy Proxmire. Turned out to be a reported case of identity theft. Fed shut down a big phishing operation that was selling Social Security numbers on the internet.